Ciao to everybody. Happy to be here to share with you these moments. As you just learned, I'm a graphic designer. I have been doing this job for quite a long time. I started my practice early in the 80s. This is our office. I do teach, but I'm not a full-time teacher. I have been involved, however, in other social activities. I've spent some years as deputy mayor for culture in Trieste, the Italian city where I live and where I have the office. I have been asked to present my work, but today I would like also to discuss some issues that emerge in the practice, just to find some answers to questions that made their way along the years. Maybe it's better to start from the answers. And like in many contemporary situations, the answer, or just an answer, can be found in the classical myth, time of heroes. And so we are. This is the story of Zeus, a hero, the son of a god, Poseidon, and a mortal, born and raised in Asia Minor, in Anatolia. Having come of age and aware of these origins, he decided to head to Athens in order to claim his rights. Just sailing to Attica, along the coast of the Saronic Gulf, he encounters a number of entrances to the realm of the dead. Each entrance guarded by a different demon under the disguise of a bandit. And after a number of adventures in the plain, when he's in the plain of Eleusis, just on the sacred way between Eleusis and Athens, Theseus runs into the last of these bandits. This bandit is Procrustes. Procrustes used to offer rest to wayfarers treading at his crossing, and he offers them his bed in order to rest. And when they lay down on his bed, Procrustes fastens them to the bed and forces them to fit into it, either by stretching them to the length of the bed or just cutting off the feet if they are too long. Theseus succeeds in a fight with Procrustes, and finally he defeats him and he arrives to Athens, and later becomes the hero of a new era of reform. So this is the answer, which is the question. We are going to speak about limits, maybe in a less cruel way. Limits are a concept that is very central to our limits, constraints, headaches, at sometimes troubles. These all are elements that give you the direction, that direct your choice among the different options. So, all this is about the reason of graphic design. I will show you some works that move in different way from different kind of limits. The first, maybe the most simple limit for a designer to conceive is space. We are not able to start designing on a blank page with no limits, no borders. So the easiest way to find the limit is to find the limits of the page. So the space is a central concept. The first one is the identity and communication for a series of conferences dedicated to communication over the internet, the state of the net. The annual conference, subject conference. This is, you may know, it's a scheme, the representation of an early version of the internet. It's ARPANET. All the communication works with a geometrical alphabet, a geometrical monospaced alphabet, an adaptive alphabet. You know, we are quite involved in writing, and we tend to use much design about in the letter form. This is the, I think, 2017 edition. The title was Consequences. It's a very simple concept. You can see the effects of consequence. One letter occupies a lot of space, widens, and the other have to become narrow in order to stay in the same space. So you can find the applications, many different kind of letterings in many sizes. Every time is changing. This is another edition of the same series. The title is Fake News. It's dedicated to interference, and you can see how interference, graphic interference, make you not to understand and make not understandable all the writing. And these are the different situations of it. Another story is about the CISA communication. CISA is a high level school. It's like a Normal in Pisa, a postgraduate school dedicated to mathematics, physics, and neuroscience. And also runs a master in science communication. I'm going to teach. I teach in this master. We have been asked as a studio to design the communication for the events. And we started with a kind of a molecular alphabet. This is a small animation we designed for the opening of the opening ceremony for the academic year, and it's again all about the limits. Two letters, O and C, that works together, that mix and works together in a fixed space. And these are some leaflets or cards or small papers and ephemera we designed. And you can see all the molecular alphabet, Women in Science, W, Science, SSF, CISA Summer Festival, and so on. Some poster series, Women in Science, or CISA Summer Festival. With the three letters, and this is a happy moment. CISA in Festa, the taste of science. That's the lettering reads Gusto. With our friends or CISA. This is the communication team. And we usually work together with the students, and this is a small installation in an ugly place, the foyer or the main hall of the room, and we designed a small installation for the opening ceremony with a series of posters. All of them read O and C, C and O, opening ceremony. It's a curious and interesting working in such a different environment, because this is not a school of design, this is a scientific school, you have to keep in mind. So you have to find other languages and other ways to relate with the students and then in the academic environment. Sometimes the limits are in the meanings. You have to explain the contents, or you have to find another way to deal with the original meanings. That is, you have to make a side step in your language. You see two projects. That's one project for Techno. That's office seatings and furniture, and one other project for Napoli Teatro Festival Italia. That's a project who was awarded with the Compasso. You know, everybody now is trying to put and to sell the man at the center of the environment, the man at the center of the office. Everybody has to be about the man, so it's very soft, very comfortable, and so on. So our task was to translate this in graphic communication. We started with thinking about the writing, that is mechanical writing or typography versus handwriting or calligraphy. The basic concept, you know, is that in calligraphy or handwriting is the ductus. That is the shape and the strength and the speediness of your movement of the paper in order to trace the letter. Every letter has a special way, a fixed way in which it has to be drawn. And so we translated this language, that's the language of the handwriting, into a mechanical writing. And this was dedicated to Orgatec, that is an international fair in Köln in 2018. With this, we designed some papers, again, leaflets and booklets, and other kind of material, communication material over the time. And you can see it's very, very strong visually, new kind of graphic language, typographical language. And theater, we had to prepare to work on this festival, whose name was Napoli Teatro Festival Italia. It's quite unbelievable as a name. It was quite impossible to be designed as a logotype. So I had to think about the true essence of the theater. What is the theater about? it's about the word. The word is for sure central in theater. Think about the phonetical alphabets. Many of them that were developed late 19, late 19, early 20th century, were designed for theater, and the most well known of them, that's the Shavian, was promoted and also financed by George Bernard Shaw, the comedian. And this is Kurt Schwitters in 1940, 41 or 42. So we started thinking about the letters and the shape of letters, and how from this name you could put out some elements, and these elements were the counterpunch of the vowels, and with this we formed the logotype. The logotype was very complex and was used in each edition in a different way to promote communicate the festival. It was quite a long festival, 1 month and a half, so it was not a monothematic. And this is first of all, the booklets, and you can see the streets, the Sfogliatelle in Naples, and so on. Or this second year, the logotype was used for the general image. We used the counterpunch of the vowels as a theater mask, and this is, by the way, a bookshop in Naples. So we had to wait quite a lot to have to take the photo, to find somebody with a helmet on. And for the third year, the shapes exploded in a three-dimensional way. At the time, different in the use, but also as actual three-dimensional elements that were suspended on the ceiling in the info point. Is a very special place in a wonderful palace, Baroque palace in Naples, and we had all these shapes hanging there to the ceiling. Well, times go by, things happen. There were the elections, so the administration changed. The administration changed the festival structure, and this is how it ended. And it's quite sad, but I like very much this picture. And again, this was the project who won, was awarded with a Compasso d'Oro. So I'm quite still happy with this project. Sometimes the limits of the 2-point are in the contents, not in the meanings. Now, how can you deal with maybe too many or no content at all? You have to make out of this some communication instruments. 2018, we designed the visual identity for Vatican chapels. That is the first time the Holy See had a pavilion at the Venice Architecture Biennale. The title was Vatican Chapels. There were, and there still are, 10 actual chapels built in the island of San Giorgio, designed by famous but very important architects. So we had this logotype that's very simple, a line that goes from the earth to the immanent. It was somehow flexible logotype, but the point is the catalog. This is a 360 pages catalog we designed. Just at the same time, the small buildings were built. So don't speak about the format, but this was the format, the size of and the proportion of the book. So you know the Biennale has some rules, and you have to put your the Biennale logotype in this position, in the upper right, and this size. That's quite a large size, and it's not so easy to deal with. And then so large the logotype of the Biennale. Let's speak about the logotype of the Holy See. The Holy See cultural minister, that cannot be much smaller of the Biennale. And then you have the publisher, because you know that in differently from the Anglo-Saxon world, in Italy the publisher has his name on the cover, and then there is the logotype, the title, because each book has to have a title. But then at the end, it was all okay. But then the publisher told us, okay, but I need to sell this book, and a lot of very important architects. So you have to show the names if you want. You have to show the names on the cover if you want the book to be sold. If you go in the bookshop, you see the names. Okay, fine, I do buy it. Wow, maybe just a little too many things for one cover. But the solution was very simple again. You don't need the names at the moment you have just bought the book. So the names work on the cover, just on the plastic wrap.
What you are seeing and hearing right now is nothing.
Then it's a very simple and very also classical book. You see the history. So the name of the architects: Norman Foster, Sean Gotzel, Souto de Mura, and so on. And then there is a first page with a text by the architect, and it's quite a statement by the architect. And so Courier was the font. You know, architects are radical, or they like to be radical, to think, to be radical, and Courier is a radical font. So that's for the statement. Courier was the right selection. On the opposite, sometimes you have no content, or you are quite in a difficult way to understand what to put inside your communication work. 2014, we had been appointed with the task of designing the inside of a new museum, together with the architect and engineers, and it was very nice job, and we worked mainly in two moments. Just at the beginning, setting the concepts, or the basic concept of this museum. This is the Port Museum, so the basic concepts were the people, work, goods, voyagers, and city again. And we designed some. At the other end of the work, we were asked to design some part of the setting with some installation or something, just to give voice to the place. And so we decided to do a typographical installation, but again we had no contents for it. And so we went back just to the basic list. This is an Excel list of the objects that were found inside the building just before the renovation started. They found any kind of things, photographs, lamps, things, nuts and bolts, everything. And with a number, how many bolts, how many nuts, how many photographs were inside it. And so we decided a kind of typographical wall. It's 3-story high with the names of all the objects. So sometimes you have to find by yourself your contents. This is the basic idea. And the size is related to the name, to the number. And you can find some very strange words, maybe sometimes poetical, sometimes quite crazy. Rosa dei Venti and Sirena, poetical. Then you can find some kind of instruments in uso abusivo, or caro hamburghese, that's from Hamburg. And this has a material aspect of at the same time. That's 1,700 letters. That means 3,400 screws and 50 drills and so on. A lot of work. And this is the other parts of the museum. That's in an old power station. So you see a very strong, very strong place. And that's the outside. And this is a job, I have to say. I'm actually still in love with it. Because the task was to give a reasonable look to the outside of this part, because it's an old port, so a great part of it is totally wasted. And the architect decided to put the marks on the moorings of the ship on the ground, and we decided to design these circular plates with texts. Which text? Which content? We are able to put everything on it, so we had to find out, and we did quite an archival research. And in the years, let's say 50s, in the 60s, on the daily newspaper, there was a column every day, and this column, the names, the kind of the people that were required to work on board, to embark on the ships, were listed. So one day you needed an official or a simple or a young boy or a sailor, and they were able to read all these messages, all this list early in the morning, at 7 in the morning, At 10 in the morning, they went to the shipping line office, and at noon they were embarked, ready to leave for, say, 6 months. So it's quite strong as a story. And we had this line, this text. I hope to have it cast. Anyway, there was a times and matter and cost matters. So these are laser cut on cotton iron. Anyway, for graphic designers work on paper or on digital, so it lasts 1 week or just one day. And working with the iron is something that gives you quite a thrill, I have to say. Sometimes, indeed, the true point is in production. Something that happens or that has to happen in production, not strictly in time, not in money. Something a little more complicated. The story here is of a book designed for Il Fondaco dei Tedeschi in Venice. Fondaco dei Tedeschi is a historical building, very important building, built first time in 13th century. And it's very near San Marco, near Rialto, you can see, so it's very... And it was used for a commercial space for German merchants. After many restorations, many changes in 20th century, it became the main post office in Venice. Until some years ago, it was dismissed as a post office, and then an investor, a developer, bought it in order, in quite a strange way, to restore its original use for commercial space, but this time as a very high-end mall. The renovation project was commissioned to Rem Koolhaas, Roma, and at the end, a book. It was very controversial at some moments. So at the end, the developer asked to design to make a book out of this story. And you have been asked to design a book, but which kind of book? The book was, of course, a so-called sponsor. That is somebody who was paying for the book, paying the publisher for the book. So this book had to be very important, large. You see gold leaf and so on. But at the same time, the publisher wanted to sell it into the bookshops, because it's quite normal. This is the main task, maybe, of the publisher. So the publisher suggested, okay, let's do a hardcover version, maybe with a box for the sponsor. Let's do a simple soft cover version for the bookshop. But they are quite different books. If you go to the bookshop, you are looking maybe for a small size book, not differently, maybe not differently designed, but differently printed with different materials. And so here we are. We designed. We had two different books printed out of one design. We all know how a book is designed, is printed, many pages on a single sheet of paper. the smaller the page size, the more pages on a single sheet. So less paper cost, and above all less printing machine runs, and so it costs a lot less. And we designed a one book, a single book, and we had two different outputs in two sizes. That's not totally uncommon, not a totally new story, but anyway, it's quite interesting working, designing in one size and checking it in the other, designing large and checking it in the small size. And this is possible just because let's say a precious book, an important book, has to be large in size, but it has also to be printed in large body size, and so you can somehow stress the design, also the typography of the book, and it works on the two sizes. And this project has been awarded in the 50 books, 50 covers prize from the Design Observer, and is in the archives in Columbia University in New York and the Binacular Library at Yale University. And we had the opportunity with this also to work on the contents, because there is with all the materials, among all the materials, we had available the presentations done by OMA to the client. You know, OMA is quite well known for its presentations because they are highly conceptual and not simply architectonical, and they present the client with all the possible developments of the project. So the publisher again suggested us to, okay, let's print some pages of this just to show how a presentation is done. But we had all the presentation, that's 200 pages, and we said not at all, because it's a unique opportunity for an architect to read all the presentation by OMA. So let's put all together, all the presentation inside, and let's make it smaller, just a small page. And then there are some quotations, some reference to the Venice typography of the 16th century, you know, like Hypner, Otomachia, Polyphili, and something like that. That is quite a simple book with a historical text, and a timeline, and some other the presentation by OMA. Another kind of limit, time. Time is maybe the most evident. All of us in the practice, we have to face time limits, money limits, and so on. But you have to do it for tomorrow. I need the book printed for next week, and so on. And this is a little different kind of time limit, of time problem. It's not the time you have in front of us. You have the time, the short or the long time you have available to do a project. It's how long you have worked on a project. It's a time on your backside. I started designing for Casabella magazine many years ago. It's in 1996. The world has changed, and we are still designing Casabella. And you may understand, it's not a matter of design, it's more a matter of psychological thing, working on designing each month 100, 120 pages again. It's quite consuming, time consuming, but also it's very difficult to keep a good balance. So we changed a good number of project of design series and also covers. Cover design changes every 2 years, 2-3 years as a maximum. Casabella was founded in 1828. Issue outline is I think 908. I started working on it on issue 632. So out of 900 issues, I designed almost 1/3 of it. It's easier and more loose to speak about covers, and I would like to show you some covers that are my favorite, maybe, or I just am quite still notable about it. This was a project, a design series based on the issue. This is 764 was the issue, and there's some interpretations, more or less architectural, and this was dedicated to concrete, and the cover itself had a good success. All the architects complimented us, and so okay, nice cover. Special Photoshop job, very good Photoshop job. Not at all. This is not Photoshop. This is an actual concrete slab that was cast with the numbers, and it's very simple photo. So it's quite curious the relationship between digital and the actual fact. And also it's quite curious the naivete, in a way, of somebody who should be well aware of design process. And this is another cover, that's called white cover. I still am not able to understand how the publisher allowed us to do this. It's gloss varnish, all the text, headline, head text, head name, and issue text, everything. White gloss varnish over matte varnish. And this was a cover who was very appreciated by Massimo Vignelli, who every time told me, okay, well, nice cover, nice trick, and so on. Maybe the appreciation was not for the design, but again for the publisher. And I still am not sure about it. A very small side step. I like this quite subtle in interventions in design. You see the typography, the cut on the typography that comes out of the. It's a reference to Sejima and Nishizawa use of glass, matte glass in the architecture that was published in the magazine, inside the magazine. This was latest project. we worked on what is maybe the biggest value of the magazine. That's the head name, Casabella, that once was very small in a corner, now it's at the center of the communication. This cover was dedicated to Jack London, The House Beautiful. And an issue dedicated to Milan, I think you can understand it. And a double issue, 887, 888. Now, last project is a still ongoing project. It's about a sculptor, the communication about a sculptor, but it's a little more. It's a communication about a city that is Brescia. In the archaeological area of Brescia, in a very important bronze statue, a winged victory, was discovered almost by chance 2 centuries ago in 1826, and it's very well conserved, a very special, very important piece. And over the time, it became in a way a symbol of the city, and it was it was in the museum, in Santa Giulia Museum, and now it's undergoing a restoration. The statue is in this moment. The statue is in the Opificio delle Pietre Dure in Florence, where they are restoring it. And the statue will come back again to Brescia, and the whole year of celebrations will take place with a new space for the statue, and some exhibitions and festival, some very some very technical, scientific, artistical, some other much more popular as kind of events. And so one question, the central point is that we had to design the communication of something that's not existing, that's not visible now, because the statue in this moment is not what you will be able to see when the restoration will be finished. So we had to design a kind of iconography over something that does not exist. So this, in that moment, in this time, now the time limit, the problem is that you are working on the future. So we had the opportunity to work with a 3D model that you are seeing now, looking at now. It's a scientific representation, and this is just the volume without the mapping of the bronze, and it's amazing. I think it's a representation of the pure beauty, and such is the beauty of this thing. That's the basic element from which all the iconography of the communication will follow. Non ho mai visto nulla di più bello. I've never seen something more wonderful, more beautiful. And these are the words of one man, of the president of an academy, when first time he saw the statue. And it's actually, this is never seen something so beautiful. So we have to develop a language from this, a language that had to be understandable at different levels and also at different places. And you cannot have a language without a writing, again, and in this case, it's a typography, a mechanical writing that has to be, it works, okay. And this has a writing that has to be able to show, to explicit the whole name, Vittoria Alata, the Winged Victory, Brescia 2020. 2020 is, or should have been, because we are going longer because of what's happening in Lombardy now. The name of this great happening. And the great image, the statue, and the writing. It's something like it's like in a band. The different instruments play all together in a composition that's every time different, but every time recognizable and every time the same. This is Vittoria Alata in Brescia, and it has to speak different languages, the cultural language, but also the popular language, the happiness of it. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.